Hey guys, let me talk to you about peyote. No, it's not one of those videos about the hallucinogenic substance derived from the cactus plant, which has been used by native North Americans for 5,500 years at least. This is my ride review after several hundred K on Vittoria's new Peyote XC race tyre, and I can tell you straight away that there is nothing hallucinatory about this tyre when chewed or ingested. However, you might find its speed effects intoxicating on your bike, mate. Oh, God. And people, no, I don't do drugs, don't know anything about peyote. If that's your thing, then happy days. But I'm much more interested in round rubber that goes on your off-road cycle. And I have to say, if you watched my Mezcal review recently, you'll know I've always been a bit sceptical about Vittoria rubber off-road, certainly in the UK, where we tend to run lower pressures and more variants of terrain, and it's wet and slippery a lot of the time. They've always tended to be that kind of typically kind of quite hard compound, quite slithery, skittery Italian tyre, Euro tyre, I would say. Nothing against you. Oh, God. Stop. Just concentrate on the tyre, Kestevan. It's Monday morning. We've got too much energy. So let's run through the numbers. 29 by 2.4 only. 760 grams, which is a win because that's exactly what Vittoria say it should weigh, which is quite uncommon with tyres. Most manufacturers will tell you their tyre weighs less, but this is actually bang on. Obviously, that's pretty heavy for a XC race tyre. I mean, you can go sub 600 if you're looking at Specialized and other brands. So if you want a really light tyre, then look at the Vittoria Terreno in 2.1 or 2.25, which is 600 or 650. But that is a proper semi-slick. The idea with this, what Vittoria have said, with all their new range of tyres actually, is this new race formulation range is designed to improve your overall speed from A to B. So it's not just pure rolling speed, it's grip, it's control, and it's rolling speed. But in this case, to be honest, it is mostly about rolling speed. As you can see, very, very shallow. Kind of, I mean, it's strip, it's more, how am I doing it on this side of the tyre? You can't really see it. Very, very small ribs, and you can see them flexing. Probably can't. The focus might be as good on the GoPro, but yeah, very, very it's distinctive sort of arrow centre tread, and it does roll absolutely like stink. Vittoria they don't say whether the new race formulation, this graphene silica compound, is dual compound or multi-compound. They seem to have moved away from their old quad compound, that's for sure. But they do say it's formulated for maximum rolling speed in the centre and more grip on the shoulder. So it sounds like it's a dual compound at least. And you have actually got some reasonable side knobs once you get over this. I mean, we're talking XC here. We're not talking Maxxis Wet Scream or anything like that. But they're reasonably solid, reasonably buttressed. And actually, it does this tread does this tyre a favour. If you watch, like I say, Mezcal review, it's much better than the previous carcasses. It's a triple layer 60 TPI carcass. There's no mention of any kind of reinforcement breaker, any reinforcement strip around the sidewall, or a puncture breaker under the tread. It might be there, but it's not on the diagrams the Vittoria serve up on their website, and I've not heard them mention it. But what you're getting is, I think it's mostly, to be honest, it's due to the tread, because that tread isn't massively loading the carcass in turns. It will, it'll slip out long before you can properly dig your shoulders into a turn. I think that kind of lets it's not as pressure sensitive as other tyres in the Vittoria range. I've tried primarily the Mezcal, and also the bigger enduro tyres, where you kind of lower it, and it still feels a bit pingy and a bit kind of hysterical, for want of a better word. And then suddenly it goes and kind of falls off a cliff, starts crumpling, starts folding, and it's like a shelving beach. You're never quite sure when you're going to go under, and it's even more frightening than cold North Sea hitting your particulars. But I'll leave that image to disturb your mind. But yeah, this is generally a more predictable tyre, I would say. And yeah, very fast rolling, clears really nicely and quickly because there's basically no tread to get gummed up. So actually does okay braking and gripping inline, as long as you're pretty subtle, obviously with your power application and your levers. Don't grab, stomp hard on wet ground or give it a big handful. It's obviously going to go a brake free and you're going to struggle to get it back. But because these little tread molds are really like, they're moving all the time. They look like little fronds. They're like a sea anemone or something, or catfish whiskers looking for grip. It actually grips almost, in a weird way, almost better than that mezcal, which is kind of more on off. This kind of smears around, but I do find at high speed, there's definitely more drift. It's a very lively feeling carcass. It doesn't feel sort of damped and settled on the ground like you might get from a lightweight Schwalbe or the new WTB Macro. It's definitely in that kind of alive race feel. But I know so many people, and they were all over the comments for the mezcal, who'd love that Vittoria feel because it does feel super fast, especially when combined with a tread like this. And to their credit, even though it doesn't seem like it's got any actual protection in there, I did the Solstice ride on this, which was over 100k. Done a bunch of other riding on it, and then did Trausuri with this on the rear. So light backpacking rig, fairly rocky terrain, not a single issue. Like I say, skittered around a bit on the back, and I'd definitely be, I think you're being brave running this on the front in the UK, unless it's proper dry and proper dusty. But in terms of puncture problems, not a whiff. There's no sign of any degradation on the sidewalls, and even though those tread blocks are tiny, no sign of wear anywhere, which is the big, what's what they always claim with graphene, is that it increases, the silica increases your wet grip. I think they say 11% better wet grip than the previous equivalent tyre, and 6% faster, and 4% faster than any other tyre they've tested with telemetry over a whole lap. And Vittoria is saying that'll give you a 1.5 kilometre an hour average advantage over a typical XC lap, which is definitely not to be sneezed at if you believe those figures. And to be fair, it is definitely a fast tyre. I had someone ask me the other night, actually, on comments in YouTube, what would I recommend for a fast, dry XC marathon tyre? And I said, to be honest, Peyote is right up there now. It does work better for people who would prefer a higher pressure. So if you're kind of in your teens with your pressure preferences, I'd probably stay away from it. But if you're, high teens, 20s, then you'll really enjoy the lively, it is a very fast feeling tyre. It zings, it pings around. It's like running hard suspension. It feels really, really efficient. And even though it's not conforming and moulding quite as well as some other tyres I can mention, as some other tyres you might run. Other thing, although it is listed as a 2.4, comes up at 57mm, which is 2.25. This is on 28mm rim, so might squeeze a bit more out of it. So it's typically undersized for an XC tyre, but it's not as bad as some others. It's a bit of a shame though, because the Mezcal, I think, was 59mm, so that was properly sized, whereas this is definitely more undersized. But nice round profile. Feels buoyant, feels fast, and I have to say, probably my favourite Vittoria XC tyre that I've ridden so far. So, thanks very much to Vittoria and Madison in the UK for sending this tyre in for test. And I'm going to keep it, big thumbs up. I'm definitely going to keep it in mind for faster cross-country marathon. Even if I'm building up like a bike-packing style MTB, I know that's where these tyres are particularly loved. So if you're a big Vittoria fan, then get in touch in the comments. The more people who comment, the more people who provide their point of view. Obviously, I can only review stuff based on where I ride, the trails I ride, and my style of riding. I try and be as broad-minded as possible, but having real-world feedback from all over the world and different conditions and different usages and different expectations can only make these reviews better. So if you've got an opinion on the Peyote, please get in touch in the comments below. I know Vittoria do seem to attract passionate fans, and that's great, all power to them. So, Vittoria Peyote, that's the information. If there's anything I've missed out about it, get busy in the comments. But make sure you click for subscriptions, notifications, so you know when the next tyre review is coming out. I've got a load from Schwalbe, I've got WTB, I've got Conti, all in that fast-rolling XC downcountry kind of sphere. I've been riding loads of tyres all summer, so obviously now it's turning to winter. It's perfect time to review summery tyres, but there you go. Sorry about that. That's how testing works sometimes. What else do you need to do? Oh, give it a thumbs up, like, tell your mates that there's an old bloke talking about tyres on the internet who seems to be particularly off his rocker today. Maybe there is something hallucinogenic in a peyote tyre, because I do seem to be gabbling on even more than normal today. And oh yeah, massive thanks to my industry supporters, and as always, huge thanks to my Patreon subscribers who are kind enough to pledge on a monthly basis, and they get extended, early and ad-free edits as a thank you. So if you really like what I'm doing with the channel, please consider clicking the Patreon link at the end and supporting me for as little as a cup of tea and a biscuit a month. I think that's about it, really. Yeah, peyote. Proper quick. From Italy. Not hallucinogenic. Or might be.